Hello, Teacher Peter here. So today I'm going to tell you everything you need to know about passing the demo lesson and the mock class. For those that don't know, the first step in the application process is submitting a short 5-minute recording of you teaching a couple slides. The next step is to conduct a longer mock class with a live teacher that is pretending to be a student. So there are two aspects of preparing for these classes. One is your teaching setup, like your infrastructure, and the other is your teaching techniques, how you're actually going to teach the curriculum. And I'll cover both of those in this video. I also want to mention that you don't have to get everything right the first time for these classes. You can just go for it. You will receive feedback after you try, and you can do it again. But if you're like me and you want to get everything right the first time, then watch this video and I'll show you everything you need to know. This video is a bit longer than other VIPKID how to get hired videos, but that's because I think it's more detailed and has more clear instructions, so I want you to be able to sit down, watch this whole video, and be completely prepared. So stick it out with me, and I promise to make it worth your while. One more point I want to mention before we get started is I think you should approach this whole application as job training and less as an application. If you stick with it, you will get hired. There's nothing that you can't acquire, anything you can't learn how to do for the application. In these two classes, you're really learning how to teach on this platform, and you're also getting some supervised experience before you start teaching, which is going to be really useful. So if you stick with it, you will get hired. Don't worry. Just keep in mind a passing grade, in life is 60 to 70%, and I'm showing you what 100% looks like, but you don't need to get overwhelmed thinking that you have to get 100%. So yeah, take all of this with a grain of salt. Okay, the demo lesson in this step, they are really just trying to clear you for a few basic things. They want to see that you have good light on your face. They want to see that you have a good atmosphere. They want to make sure you have an average-ish American accent, but don't worry about that part. Now, in the demo lesson, you don't need to go crazy setting up a classroom, but you are going to need that when you teach the mock class, and you are definitely going to need some sort of setup when you actually start teaching. And you will become a teacher if you stick with the whole process. So it's worth figuring it all out now. What I recommend is setting up a desk or something else in front of a wall so that you can stick some things to the wall. When I first started, I used like a piano keyboard stand with a plank of wood on top to set my computer on. You can make do with a wall facing a couch, but you are going to need to find a way to elevate the laptop so you aren't looking down on the student like this. It's a little creepy for them. Another great option is to create a makeshift standing desk, which I've experimented with before. Just look around your house and see if you can make something work. Just make sure that you have a little bit of wall space because they want to see that you have something vaguely educational in your background. A map works great, and I can use this while I'm teaching. Have you ever traveled before? Oh, where have you traveled? Like that. Or you could print out the alphabet or the planets, anything. Mainly you're trying to create a kid-friendly atmosphere. It can be really simple. Use poster tack. I use this for everything now. I actually just fixed my whiteboard using some poster tack, so it really comes in handy. Then you need to get a lamp and point it at your face. I have this fancy adjustable lamp now, but when I first started, I had a bare light bulb with a tissue draped over it. And yeah, it probably was a fire hazard. But remember, if you're sitting next to a window, it can cast a shadow across your face. And they want to see you without any shadows. Now, I've left the shadow for this video because I think it's like visually interesting, but when you record your video, they want you to see you with like really even light cast across your face. So yeah, go for that. Sometimes it's better to close the curtains so that your main source of light isn't overpowered. Alright, finally, you want to use some sort of external microphone. So you can put some earphones in that have the microphone part. I use these in my classes all the time. I really like the flat cord. It doesn't get tangled. I can, unravel it really quickly. But I think ideally they want you to have a headset with a microphone, but you definitely don't need that to get hired. I've been using these the whole time. So that's everything for the infrastructure. You need something desk-like, facing a wall. You need a kiddish background. Use your headphones and point a lamp at your face. Okay, now I'm going to get into the teaching itself. If you've looked at the instructions for teaching the demo lesson or the mock class, you might think to yourself, what the hell am I supposed to do with this? At least that's how I felt when I first saw the instructions. So I'll get into the technique itself. And this is going to get a little bit more conceptual, so bear with me. For these two classes, VIPKID is preparing you to teach the most basic English learner. When you actually start teaching, you will have a wide range of students, but in fact, most of your students will be more capable than the one you are pretending to teach in this recording. But it's really important that you are able to adapt to this type of student when you do encounter one. So what that looks like is speaking really slowly and simply. You don't need to speak in full sentences. And you don't really need to give instructions either. Instead, you're going to direct the student by showing them what to do instead of telling them how to do it. It sounds simple, but it can actually take some time to get the hang of it. So let's look at the first slide of the demo lesson. And you can see in the upper right-hand corner it says I vocabulary. And that means introduce vocabulary. On the introduce slides, you want to make sure to say the featured word twice on its own. And make sure the student says the word twice also. So, in the demo lesson, you have the word sad. Jason, sad. Sad. Great. And notice what I'm doing here with my hands. This is called TPR, or Total Physical Response. So right now, I'm directing the student to listen and speak with my hands. Right now I'm saying, listen to me, I'm talking. And right now I'm saying, it's your turn to speak, I'm listening. So they want to see you instructing the student using your hands. Another good example would be drag and drop. If there's an interactive element on the screen, you could go like this. Jason, drag and drop. Yeah, drag and drop. Oh, good. Or circle if they're supposed to circle the correct answer. So, Jason, you circle the ball. Yeah, circle the ball. Great, nice work. They also want to see you illustrating the vocabulary using your whole body. So if you're teaching the word sad, you should make some motion for sad. Or if you're teaching the sentence, she is sad, you could go like this. She is sad. Together, these two types of TPR are called instructional TPR, showing the student what to do, and educational TPR, illustrating the vocabulary. And they want to see you use both. Also, many new teachers don't realize that you can draw on the screen. I'm always directing the student by circling and underlining the sentences that they're supposed to read or what they should be looking at. So I just explained how to introduce a new word. Now let's look at teaching a new sentence. They want to see you use a technique called I do, we do, you do. So first, you're just going to do whatever you want the student to do for any given slide. In this case, it's reading the sentence. And I'll use a slide from the demo lesson here. First, I'll just say, she is sad. Then you do it together with the student, so you can go one word at a time. She is sad. Nice. Last, you encourage the student to read the sentence on their own. So you could say the sentence on your own and put your hand to your ear, like this. So, she is sad. Yeah! Or you could simply circle the sentence and say, Jason, your turn, your turn. Yeah! So I also find it really helpful to use the student's name as a way to signal that it's their turn to do something. And you can always say, good job, great work, awesome. Praise does not count as unnecessary language. The beauty of teaching this way is that you can quickly figure out how to teach any new slide. You simply have to do the activity yourself, and because we're adults that already speak English, that's pretty easy. Then hold your student's hand through the activity once. Then finally prompt the student to do it on their own. Sometimes this is called scaffolding. You're building your student up to greater heights, and you don't have to spend painstaking hours preparing a script to explain how to do each slide. Just model it once, handhold once, and then let them fly. I do, we do, you do. As you progress through the slides, you can challenge the student to be more and more independent. So if you look at the top right-hand corner of each slide, you can see a letter with a word written next to it. This is a little code for the slide types, and it's helpful for you to know this code. I stands for introduce, P stands for practice, A stands for apply. And you can see that the slides in the mock class and the demo lesson follow this rhythm. Introduce a vocabulary word, practice a vocabulary word, then apply a vocabulary word. For the introduce slides, you can give them a lot of support and make sure you use I do, we do, you do. On the P or practice slides, you can just ask the question and see if they can reply. Make sure you circle the sentence that you want them to say. If they can't, then jump in with the I do, we do, you do formula. And for the A apply slides, you can ask the question and really let it hang. Give them some time before you jump in, and even then, start by giving them little hints. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate how to teach each slide of the mock class in this video. I've just laid out the formula, and I'm hoping you can try to apply that to the rest of the lesson. And if you want to see a more detailed play-by-play of me teaching the slides, then click on to the next video in the playlist, and I'll show you in detail how to put all this into practice. Now, I'll cover a couple more topics. On the very first slide, where you see the title of the lesson, you can just say your name, ask the student's name, and ask another really simple question. This slide is really just for introductions. So, hi, I'm Teacher Peter. What's your name? Jason. Hi, Jason. I'm Jason. Nice. I'm encouraging them to say a full sentence there. And furthermore, Jason, how old are you? 6. Wow, great. I'm 6 years old. Nice. So I'm encouraging a full sentence there again, which is something they like to see you do. Then you can move on. Some teachers read the title of the lesson, or they have the student read the title of the lesson. You can do that, but it's not necessary. Next is the reward slide. So now I'm going to delve into props a little bit, because the props come in with the reward. The reason I left my discussion of props for last is because you don't really need to have props to pass the demo lesson. In fact, probably most people pass it without using props at all. But if you have something easy to use in your house, go ahead and use some props in your demo lesson and start getting used to it. Another reason to give it your all in the demo lesson is that they offer you your wage after you submit your recording. Now, I can't confirm to what degree the rate that they offer you is based on the quality of your demo lesson versus your qualifications or whatever other factors, which is why I haven't put much emphasis on it in this video. But there is a chance that you could boost your base pay rate by nailing the demo lesson, so it might be worth it. When you're teaching for VIPKID, you need to include some amount of physical props that you can show in your screen while you're teaching. One of the most essential of these props is the reward system, so you can give stars throughout the class. It's basically a little star button that you can click and it lights up their screen. And to accompany these stars, you need to reward the student with something that is visible and countable. So one widely beloved reward in my classroom is funny pizza faces. And so I'll be like, Jason, when you do a good job, you get a funny pizza face. Ooh, look, cool pizza. Pizza! And I'm sticking it to the wall behind me so that the student can see their rewards accumulating throughout the class. So the second slide for the demo lesson and the mock class is the reward slide. And this is theoretically a reward system that you could use if you don't have your own external reward system. But because they require you to have your own, and because the kids really like it, I don't think anyone really uses these slides for their reward. Instead, you can just introduce your reward system on this slide and use it to practice the drag and drop command. So on this slide, you can say, Jason, drag and drop. Yeah, drag and drop. So this is a great opportunity to introduce this command and show instructional TPR to your evaluator. And most of the kids do this on even like a phone or an iPad. So instead of using a mouse and going like drag and drop, I'm pretending to like touch the screen. Yeah. So after that, you can introduce your reward. So for me, that's the silly pizza face. When you do a good job, you get a silly piece of pizza. Sorry, funny piece of pizza. Apparently the word silly translates into something really offensive in Chinese, so you're not even allowed to write it in your feedback. Stick to funny pieces of pizza instead. Some other great props that you can include or you probably should include, are Meg and Mike. So these are two of VIPKID's mascots, and they are very helpful for demonstrating the pronouns he and she. And yes, you do have to teach the kids gender. So if you have the sentence, she is sad, you can show Meg and say, she is sad. Generally, flashcards are one type of prop that they want to see you use in the mock class. But remember, this is only true for the mock class. You don't need all of the following props for your demo lesson. So don't get overwhelmed. Another really helpful prop is a puppet, or something that you can use like a puppet. These come in handy when you need to demonstrate a sentence frame. Let's say you want the student to say, yes, I throw a ball. In response to the question, do you throw a ball? This is from the mock class slides. So you can hold up a puppet and talk to it to demonstrate the call and response. Hello, doggy. Doggy, do you throw a ball? Yes, I throw a ball. Jason, do you throw a ball? Yeah, very good. It can be super confusing to try to demonstrate sentence frames without a puppet. You will ask the question, do you throw a ball? Then the student will just repeat that back to you because that's what they've been doing this entire time. So you can get around that using a puppet. One more really helpful prop to have in your classroom is a tiny whiteboard. This is a really versatile prop that can come in handy in a lot of different situations. But for the demo lesson or the mock class, I think it works best on the phonics slide. So when you're doing phonics, make sure to say the letter sound in isolation. So instead of saying duh for the letter D, say duh. You're trying to really isolate the letter sound. And you can write that on the whiteboard as you say it to further illustrate the letters. So this is from the demo lesson. Duh. Duh. Ig. Dig. Ooh. Ooh. And when you're actually teaching phonics to students, it goes a lot faster, but you're going to really slow it down. Another way to show this, if you want to amp it up and you have these magnets, is you can kind of illustrate the word coming together like this. So you say dig, 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 dig. Wow! It became one word. That was amazing. Also, a lot of teachers will use the whiteboard as part of the reward system. They will write the student's name on the whiteboard on the intro slide, say like, Jason? Oh, hi, Jason. Cool. And then they'll add the reward right to the whiteboard, kind of like around the student's name. You just have to have like some sort of magnetic or sticky reward to do that. And then also find a place to like hang it in your background so they can still see the reward accumulating. I ordered this whiteboard off of Amazon. And it came with the magnets. But if you want to save some money, you could try creating your own whiteboard by laminating a white sheet of paper and then fastening it to something stiff like a clipboard. The last category of prop that they want to see you use in your classroom is called relia, meaning if you're teaching the word ball, you actually show a ball. Or if you're teaching the word kite, you actually show a kite. I think this type is the most interesting for kids, but it's also the hardest for teachers to manage because it's really lesson specific and there's hundreds of lessons. So it's up to you. Some teachers have racks of lesson specific props and kids love it. I'm sure they get better ratings and more bookings because of it. I personally have kept it minimal and that's been fine for me, but it's up to you. For the mock class, definitely find one really a prop that you can show. So a ball, a kite, or a doll. The last slide in every lesson is the free talk slide. You can see it has an E in the upper right hand corner for extend. You can teach the extend slides a lot like the apply slides in that you're just going to ask a question and let it hang. Ask a simple question. Do you like to throw a ball? Or one question that works on every extend slide is, what do you see? Because there's always a picture of something that you can discuss. But any question is valid, and if they don't answer it immediately, you can always fall back on I do, we do, you do. So let's say I said, what do you see? And just waiting there, I could say, I see a ball. I see a ball. I see a ball. Nicely done. Alright, that's everything. I'll review it all one more time for you. Talk simply, talk slowly, talk with your hands, use I do, we do, you do on the introduction slide, or at any point the student is struggling, challenge them a little on the practice slides, then let them fly on their own on the apply slides. Scrounge around your house for some props that you can use, and that's it. You're ready to go. And if you're ready for more, click through to my next video. I'll record myself teaching through the demo lesson and the mock class, and you can see me put this all into practice. I'm creating these videos to promote myself as a referring teacher, so if you like this video and you want to apply, use my referral code. And you can also add my referral code if you've already started the application. All that is below. And you can reach out to me directly if you have any questions. I'm happy to be a resource for you. And so all that information is below. Alright, good luck and goodbye. And that's how you're supposed to teach colors. Mm.